Welcome to Homestead by Chance, and today I'm going to share with you my secret pizza sauce recipe. For those of you that have been following me on MeWe, a lot of your questions about why I grab all of those tomatoes and bell peppers out of the old veggie bin are finally going to be answered. All right, so let's get started. I have been collecting bell peppers, mainly red, but orange and yellow are fine too. Bell peppers and tomatoes for months, and I grill them, I skin the tomatoes, and I put everything in Ziploc bags and put it in the freezer. Well, we used our last jar of pizza sauce the other day, so that means that I have got to make more. So this is our favorite pizza sauce to put on a pizza, but you could use it for anything that calls for a pasta sauce. It's really, really, really good. Now, my recipe that I'm going to be showing you in the video today, so I've been making it for several years, so of course it has changes and things like that to it. The original I'll post, all right? But I'm going to show you what I do, and then feel free to change it to your liking as well. The original recipe is much heavier on the bell peppers, and because I'm really using this as a pizza sauce or marinara sauce, I go heavier on the tomato side, okay? The original recipe, its intent was to be like on a bruschetta or something like that, so it was a lot heavier towards the bell pepper side. All right, so I have about 21 pounds of tomatoes and about 10 pounds of bell pepper and onion, and all of it has been grilled. You can put it in your roaster in your oven if you want. I prefer grilled. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to strain off some of the liquid because I don't need all of that liquid in the recipe, and it's easy to put it back, right? That's the easiest thing. It's harder to take away than it is to put it back. So we're just going to strain off the liquid here. And I don't worry about seeds in my tomatoes, especially for something like this. And the immersion blender is going to take over anyway. It's going to do a lot of work. So hopefully all of these 3,000 bags of tomatoes and peppers will fit in my stock pot. We're going to find out, aren't we? So just strain everything off. This is going to take a while, so we'll come back. All right, I have all of my peppers and tomatoes strained. I've got a lot of liquid here. This probably will turn into enchilada sauce later, so don't worry about that some other time. All right, look at this. It just barely fits, but it fits. So now I want to add all of the other ingredients. Now, like I said, I've made some changes to the recipe over the years, and you can decide if you want to do some different things as well. So first things first, we want to put in some garlic, all right? The original recipe, which this is about 4 times the original recipe, okay? So if it calls for 2 cloves of garlic, 8, all right? I've got my handy dandy garlic paste here, and I think I'm just going to put everything that's left. We're just going to put all of that in there. We like garlic. Garlic's good for you. I made some wild garlic olive oil a couple of weeks ago. That is super yummy. It's very strong, though. So when we ran out and we used our very last jar of this bell pepper sauce the other day, I said to my son, oh, I need to make more bell pepper sauce. We're out. And he's like, bell pepper sauce? What is that? And he goes, I said, that's what we put on our pizza. And he goes, it has bell peppers in it? Because my son won't eat bell peppers. So I'm like, yeah, and you like it. All right, basil. 2 tablespoons of basil, so again, about 8. And just going to use what's left in here and not worry about it. So that's the fun thing about doing your own recipe. You can decide, do I like a lot of basil? Ooh, it smells so good. All right. Basil. And whoops, got my handy dandy wiping cloth. So for a little bit of health benefit, I'm going to put in a little bit of ginger. Not enough to change the flavor, but enough that there's going to be some in there, and I know that it's in there. Ginger is really good for you. All right, so let's see. Basil, garlic, salt. So 1 teaspoon times 4. We're just going to eyeball it. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. This is pink Himalayan salt, if that's what you want to use. Sugar. 1 tablespoon. I don't like to put a ton of sugar in recipes that call for it. I know sometimes it's necessary to cut on things like this calls for the red wine vinegar, to cut on that flavor. But I just don't see the need to put a whole lot of sugar. So it's going to say I would need 4 tablespoons for this amount of peppers and onions, but I'm probably just going to put in about 2 tablespoons and just not worry about it. All right, last but not least, now we need our vinegar. The recipe calls for red wine vinegar. Like I said earlier, this is really kind of intended to be a heavy on the bell pepper side, and then you would put it like on a bruschetta. Well, I'm using it on pizza, so I don't want that much of the red wine vinegar to come through. Red wine vinegar is 5%, just like ACV or white, so you can substitute anything that you want. So I've got a partial bottle here, and I'm going to need 2 cups of vinegar total. So I'm just going to use what's left here. And I've got a new bottle. I'll probably put a cup of red wine. Let's see. So that gives me about a cup of red. And then I'll do the rest in apple cider. Ooh, new jug. Let me tell you, if you aren't using your apple cider vinegar or your vinegar by the gallon, you ain't doing it right. We go through a lot of vinegar in this house. Oh, brand new jug. I just made a mess everywhere. That's okay. That's the reason that you have your wiping rag. All right. So what did I say? I'm going to need 2 cups. So I got 1 cup in here. And if you wanted to use white, you could use that too. I think I'm just going to stick with the ACV and the red. All right, here we go. Brand new jug. Don't make a mess. All right, I'm going to top it off a little bit because I don't know exactly what's in here. I measured everything, or I weighed everything with the liquid, and then I took out quite a bit of liquid here. So usually whenever I'm doing these huge bulk recipes like this, and I'm not really sure on how much I have, I go a little bit heavier on the vinegar because this is a water bath item, and I want to make sure that I have that appropriate acidity, okay, to make sure that everything is safe. So it doesn't bother me one bit to go heavier on the vinegar side. So if I weighed everything and it came out to 31 pounds, okay, and I know I took out quite a bit of liquid. I mean, there could be, there's at least 5 pounds of liquid there, okay? So let's just say that we're down to 28 pounds of tomatoes and bell peppers that are in here. And remember, I'm going heavier on the tomatoes, so there is the acidity from the tomatoes. And the bell peppers are cooked and the onions are cooked, which does change your concerns about acidity. So cooked, you don't have to be quite as concerned about the acidity if you have the onions and bell peppers cooked, all right? So if I have 28 pounds of vegetables, tomatoes and bell peppers in here, then according to the recipe, I would need 2 cups of vinegar, all right? I probably have less than 28 pounds. And I filled this guy, this is a 2-cup measuring cup, and I filled him to the brim, which means I have more than 2 cups of vinegar in there. So I just wanted to cover that because I know a lot of people are often concerned about making sure that canning is safe. I am a rebel canner, all right? This is why I'm explaining everything in the video, but I'm going to put the original recipe in the notes, all right? That's for you to decide how you want to deal with the recipe yourself. That way you have the original one that has all the original measurements. All right, this thing weighs a ton, right? 28 pounds maybe. We're going to bring it over here, and basically, it's just a waiting game now. I'm going to let that heat up, and then I will take my immersion blender to it. I'll blend it down, right? I'll taste it, right? You got to have that taste tester, right? Quality assurance, as it is. See if I like the flavors, and then from there I'll can it. So see you when we get back. Well, best laid plans. The very nice immersion blender that my husband got me has now quit, which means that we get to go back to the old way of doing things. So I got out my blender, and now we get to do it the hard way. A couple of scoops in the blender, blend it, pour it into a different pot. A couple of scoops into the blender, blend it, pour it into a different pot. So this is going to take a while. I can't live without an immersion blender, so I'm really upset that this one has quit on me. This was the expensive one. The cheap one that I had for about 10 years, maybe 15 years, it worked great. It just finally gave out after 15 years. I think I've had this one maybe a year. Okay, so FYI, it's a KitchenAid brand. So I don't know if that means it's a 2-speed, and I did both speeds, and yeah, it's just kaput. And this is not that thick. It's tomatoes and bell peppers and liquid, so it shouldn't have done that. But anyway, so I'm going to get started on this, and we'll come back and you'll see the results. All right, so I got everything blended in the blender. Took 3 pots, about 20 million exchanges, but it's all blended now. So it's heating up nicely, and I've got it mixed in, all the onions, the bell peppers, and the tomatoes. All right, so let's see what it tastes like. It smells amazing. Let's see what it tastes like. That is so good. I mean, it's just really amazing. It doesn't taste like a marinara or a pizza sauce, right? You're thinking, oh, it's a pizza sauce, right? So I'm going to taste tomato. And even though it's really heavy on the tomato, you can really taste the sweetness of those peppers coming through. And it just gives a much more vibrant flavor. So it's so great on pizza. So I'm going to let this heat up, and I'm going to get my canners ready. You can see I've got all my jars here behind me ready to go. And based on the recipe, this should give me about 20, let me grab it. Should give me about 20 half pints, okay, based on this. And you might be thinking, well, 20 half pints, that's not much considering all the tomatoes and the bell peppers and everything that went into it. But a jar of pizza sauce is like, $4 for a little jar, And we like this so much better, and it's so much healthier. I know exactly what's in it, right? And so, a jar of pizza sauce it's not a pint. I'm not exactly sure how many ounces is. It's probably a 3/4 pint or something, somewhere around there. And so I know that a half pint works perfectly on a pizza for us, and that's the size that we need, so I can make it that way. And all of those tomatoes and peppers and everything, maybe cost me $10. Okay, so, you know, if that's 20 pints, that's 20 pizzas for us. So it really does go a long way. So this is, it's got a little bit of, I don't want to say spice, but you know how sometimes bell peppers have that, well, again, heat is not the right word, but it's got that little kick to it, right? Because especially I grilled them and everything. So it just brings out so many flavors. So I'm going to let this get heated up and start the long canning process. Not that the canning time is long, but you canners out there, you know, right? You got to get every single one of those jars filled, put it in the canner, start the canner. It's only a 10-minute water bath. I use my pressure canners to steam can because it's just a lot more convenient. So why not? All right, so I'm going to get this going, and we'll see in a little bit. And we're back. All right, last part of the video. So the tabletop or the countertop blender made things take quite a bit longer. I don't know if you can tell, it's now dark outside. So it took most of the afternoon and into the evening to get this done. But my first canner just finished. I think it has 22 half pints in it. And I'm going to get all of those out. I've got my second canner on, and I'll be able to get through all of those. Thankfully, it's only a 10-minute water bath, so it doesn't take long. So that's really good. So anyway, let's get these out. You know, for those of you who use pressure canners, you know that it makes your kitchen smell like what you're canning. It smells really good. All right. Take off the super hot lid there. Let's pull a couple of these out. Ooh, they are steaming too. All right. So that's it. Oh, I had a little bit of siphoning. That's okay. Not a big deal. So I'm going to take these out, start lining them up so that they'll cool. And that's pretty much it. Don't forget to check out the notes below for the original recipe so you can make it that way. See if you like it, and then make your own changes, right? This is going to be so good on pizza. I think maybe we'll have pizza this week. What do you think? Huh? I have to ask my son that question, right? All right. So I've got 22 half pints to take out of there, and I've got at least that many to can after this. So the recipe said, what did I say, 5 half pints or something like that. So obviously it paid more. And for those of you who are wondering, I did add more ACV to the batch whenever I was cooking it down and blending it. I tasted it and everything, and I added some more apple cider vinegar. So anyway, if you make it, and especially if you like it, let me know. All right, don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on MeWe. Otherwise, oh, they're already popping. I'll see you next time. Bye.